I know personally I'm not much of a swimmer, but Christopher Swain swam from the British Columbia to the Pacific Ocean to raise awareness for the pollution in the river. He swam and did it for a good cause. Check this out.
Don't taste like garbage, gas, oil, sewage, and detergent. This tastes bad, but not as bad as the water.
I'm here with Christopher Swain, the crazy man who swam the entire Columbia River. Now, I'm sure you're probably tired of hearing this question, but why? Why did you do that?
I think this is what happens when you fall in love with a cold, dirty river. And, you know, a lot of people call me crazy, and if it's crazy to want the Columbia River to run clean, then I'm completely insane. I swam the lower half of the Connecticut River in New England in a partnership with the United Nations to help launch their water decade. I've swum the Hudson River, 115 miles, the entire length of Lake Champlain, New York and Vermont, and up into Quebec, 129 miles, and then the Charles River, 81 miles in Massachusetts, and these were all swims for clean water. I'm a dad, and I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old daughter, and I want them to be able to play on non-toxic beaches and swim on clean water, and I don't think that's too much to ask, but in this culture, if there's an issue, nothing seems to change unless somebody's willing to put themselves on the line. So that's why I'm willing to, say, swim 1,243 miles down the Columbia and dodge container ships and, you know, get hit by Douglas fir trees inside big storm waves and, you know, freeze myself in 40-degree, 39-degree meltwater and swim in blizzards and all the rest of it. It's that I love these places where these rivers are so much, and selfishly, you know, I want my daughters to know that I tried to protect them.
You said 1,243 miles. You didn't swim straight through. You had to rest and eat. So what was the daily procedure?
First was the overall plan. It took into account the fact that I was an ordinary guy. You know, I wasn't a scientist. I was never on the swim team. I wasn't even that great an athlete, you know, and so I had to, not being rich as well, make a plan that would let me survive it. So I wanted to have time to see my family, and I needed to stop and work. So I spread the swim over 13 months. I only swam a little less than half the time. I had 165 days in the water. What we would do is, if we were in an area that didn't have tide, or tide as a factor, then we could start when we wanted to start. So probably get up around dawn, eat a good breakfast, suit up, swim 6 to 8 hours, stopping every 600 strokes, something like 20 minutes, gargle with hydrogen peroxide as you saw me do, take a little drink of water, sometimes a carbohydrate drink, something like that, a little bit of food. The foods I ate were weird, just stuff that wouldn't make me sick while I swam, and then keep swimming. 6 to 8 hours, get out of the water. You know, we mark the place we stop on the GPS receiver, eat dinner again, go to bed. On days when we weren't swimming, I'd be in the schools. I ended up meeting with 24,000 kids in the Columbia River Basin alone here and in Canada, and over 20,000 adult citizens, some of them government officials, some of them UN staffers, you know, and everybody in between, from farmers and dam operators to tugboat captains, to talk about what their hopes were for the Columbia River.
So you said that you're doing this partially for your family. So what did they say when you decided you were going to start swimming rivers?
Well, the first thing, you know, is the crazy thing, right? Like, well, I mean, now look at this. You know, this is Columbia River water taken right upstream of where we are right now. This is what comes out of the tap here in Portland. I think what's important to know about what's in the Columbia is that it's everything from arsenic to zinc, everything from human waste to nuclear waste. And that actually freaks some people out, you know, my mom included, right, that I was going to do this. So I think most people are worried about my safety, like I'm going to get cancer, I'm going to get a neurological disease, get run over by a ship. I think what was hard for me and my family was the time that I spent away from home. You know, that was very, very difficult. But sometimes if you want to do something to help everybody, it ends up being bigger than just your family. And as uncomfortable as that might be, that was the place I was in, and I had it in my heart to do this thing for more than just my family. I almost want to say I felt like I had to do it.
I understand you've also got a documentary of the Columbia River swim.
It was a group of 35-plus Pacific Northwest filmmakers who all donated time and energy and money to try to use the swim as the heart of the film by following me down the river about the river itself. So the river's the main character in the documentary. It's called Source to Sea, and what we tried to do is tell the story of the river and the voices of the people who lived along it. A lot of people were very, very receptive to the swim. You know, we never paid for lodging or anything like that, got lots of free meals, floors to sleep on, and they opened their arms to the filmmakers as well. My hope for the film is that without having to swim the entire river again, which I confess to not wanting to do, that people could see this film and maybe befriend the river. It needs to be understood, you know, and if you can develop a relationship with a river, the Columbia or any other river, you care what happens. And when you care what happens to someone or something like the river, and I would parenthetically say, I don't think we're that separate, I think we're all part of the same web of existence, then you protect those things. You know, protection and restoration take care of themselves if it's part of you.
Well, I'm Dylan Campbell here with Christopher Swain in Kelly Point Park for Teen Edition.